Okay, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on the Lunchtime Cafe. I'm Tapelo Joe Smarter, and my guest this afternoon is Honorable Emmanuel Tembo. He is the FERA Member of Parliament and also Secretary Legal for the Patriotic Front. And our discussion this afternoon is centered on the burial of the 6th Republican President and the legal implications therein. Honorable, good to see you and welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon, Joe, and good afternoon, our viewers and our compatriots in this country. I'm glad, as I'm always glad to be here at Camnet, and you guys are doing a good job in informing the nation about what really matters. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable. Now, Honorable, when there was the court process, and we saw that the court in South Africa did give guidance, and obviously a verdict came out. And before the end of the day, we saw the family of the late 6th Republican President file. There are so many terms that are being issued. Filed an appeal, they appealed, no, it was an injunction, a motion of notice. What was it, Honorable? Let's begin from there.
Okay, so essentially we, when there's a dispute, everywhere in the world there are courts. The courts, the aim of the courts is actually to determine and resolve a dispute. Yeah, so when the court has made a judgment or a verdict, one part will win, the other part will lose, and each one of them must follow what the judgment has been. Now, but suffice to say that the way the court system operates, there is, the law has in mind the fact that the lower court can make mistakes.
Okay.
So they leave room to appeal to the next level, which is the Court of Appeal. From the Court of Appeal, there's also a Supreme Court, like in our case. Now, the whole essence of appeal, the appeal process, is because they know that these courts are manned by people who may, for ordinary, maybe just a mistake or some other factors in, failing to make the right decision. But also, you see, humans, as they are, there's also a possibility that, someone could have been coerced at a lower level, then you go to a higher level. Because at the higher level, there are more jurists, or there are more judges looking at the matter. So this matter, which was started by the Zambian government in South Africa, over the body of the 6th Republican President, judgment passed, and it was in favor of the government. Now, I must indicate that all of us were shocked. That was not a court judgment, it was a very political judgment. Political in the sense that in court, the courts use the law to make decisions. It's not how much someone feels about a certain issue or how strong your views are, but it's based on what the law says. That's how different the court is from the rest of the gathering, so to speak.
So emotions don't count?
No, emotions or friendships do not count.
Okay.
Yeah, now, so the law in South Africa says that when there's a dispute about barriers, or they have a very clear law which says that the next of kin, and I think that the Attorney General alluded to it, the Minister of Foreign Affairs from South Africa, who came to Zambia, informed the President that their hands were tied because the law says it's the family or the next of kin that have the responsibility to bury any person, or their relative. Now, in this case, the court went against the laws of South Africa, and they are talking about Zambian laws now. The way courts are, Zambian courts interpret the law, and in the Zambian case, the Zambian courts interpret the Zambian law. Okay. South African court interprets South African laws. So even if it's Zambians who are fighting South African court, they'll follow the rules there. Okay. Whether it's a divorce case, whether it's a contract case, or whatever dispute, it will be South African law. They don't refer to. However, there are international tribunals, which have international jurisdiction. So between one country and the other, like the ICC, International Court of Justice. There are some courts like ICSID which deal with private sector disputes. Yeah. So in this case, the court that they went to is a South African court, and the law that was expected is a South African law. Now, there are so many cases. I think, usually legal jargon may mislead some people, may not understand, sorry. What has happened? So with that judgment, obviously the family of the late president were not happy.
Okay.
And obviously, based on what I've just explained, that, it is not expected that, that judgment would have gone in the favor of government. What the issue is that the family decided to appeal.
Okay.
Now, in Zambia, you can appeal, but you also need to go back and make an application to stay the judgment. In other words, to freeze the judgment, suspended pending the hearing of the appeal. So meaning that the orders that were granted in the lower court's judgment are actually frozen, or they cannot be executed, they cannot be implemented, until the appeal process is completed. Now in this case, so the law in South Africa is very straightforward. I think it's far more developed like ours in that sense, because immediately you show a notice of intention to appeal. That is sufficient to stay, or to stay in this case means to suspend the judgment. So the judgment of the High Court of Gauteng was suspended by the fact that they filed in, or they took documents into the Court of Appeal, for purposes of hearing this matter by the higher court to explain the grounds of appeal. And like I said earlier on, you see the family is not happy. That one first, they are talking about the interest. When you talk about public interest in South Africa, you are talking about South African public interest. You cannot talk about public interest of Zambians in a South African court. Okay, so that is different. Or decisions that were made here in Zambia in a South African court, that does not suffice. So essentially, all things being equal, what should have happened? The Zambian government should have started a court case here in Zambia against the family. If they were to succeed, they would have taken the judgment, and their judgment is registerable in South Africa. They would have gone to find ways of registering there and even execute. But of course, maybe that would have been a go also. So they went in South Africa and did what they could. And unfortunately, I think that we're all shocked that was a turn of events. I hope that the audio of Chavinga and the other people about Judge Kulia, we are not real, because you see that those are very serious repercussions. And for us, legal practitioners or so on, the court is a place of sanctity, in that it's a place which settles disputes. If the court is not going to make proper decisions, or people are going to go around the courts, that brings anarchy anyway. So the courts must be respected, and their dignity and the sanctity that I talked about must be preserved at all times, because this is where the poor people run to. This is where those who have nowhere to run to, they can get justice from, because out there's no justice in this world. So that is what is happening. So in short, wait until the Court of Appeal in South Africa hears this matter before judgment burial is actually set.
Okay.
The remains of the former president, the mortal remains of the former president are actually put to rest.
Okay. Now, Honorable, there's another section of society that believes that a notice of appeal that the family has filed to a higher court might be an exercise in futility. How do you respond to that? Okay,
so first and foremost, like I said earlier on, the right to appeal is a right to every litigant who's not happy.
Okay. With the earlier judgment.
With the earlier judgment,
Okay.
Then secondly, the higher court is more strict with the law than the lower court. And also, because the lower court has done part of the work, so they look at what was not done.
Okay.
In terms of reasoning and arguments. Okay. Because, so, in my view, first and foremost, like I said, clearly and to tell every Zambian, that case, without any interference, without anything, that case, there's no way the Zambian government would have won. Because like I said, there are authorities and there also there are issues relating to what happens where there's a dispute in South Africa is the next of kin, and that law has not been changed. So not until that law changes, that's when. So we wait to see what the Court of Appeal we will be able to judge in view of these issues and the contradictions thereof. I'm mindful that the Lungu family is fighting a government and government machinery, and who have resources. They can hire any lawyer, they can hire many other people to, as much as possible, to win the case.
Okay.
But you know, God is a God of justice, and God, is on the side of the weak. In this case, the government of Zambia is a powerful institution. The family of late Lungu, President Lungu, is actually a weaker institution. However, the truth is far much stronger than any of the parties. So the issue is about the truth. And you know that the reason we are in court, the reason there's been an impasse, is not because of any choice, but it's the circumstances, how the government of the Republic of Zambia under the new dawn mistreated the former president, particularly in relation to his health, among other issues. They never offered him, even if you differ with someone, even if someone, there's a time where humanity must come in. When someone is sick, whether it's a small sickness or a big sickness, their family ties comes in. Family in this case, we are members of a bigger Zambian family, not necessarily, a blood family, but you see, because we are all Zambians, we are fighting for the same thing. And like they are debating that this former president, we need to bury with dignity. The question is, you see, why didn't we see that dignity? And I think that this is what has led to this dispute. If this government looked after President Lungu and his family very well, we could have known such a dispute, which has torn us apart. By the way, and I'm appealing to government to see, these activities, there are certain things you do by all means, pushing hard, pushing it along the way. You don't know how many toes you are going to step on, how many people are destroying along the way. So the family is grieving. They've lost the patriarch of the family, and I think it's not easy for them. Now the court process has just added, so to the so. So for me, this dispute can only be resolved by going back and look at how we have treated these people. The UPND believes they are right to do that because maybe President Hakainde was arrested here and there. This and that. It looks like a vengeful approach to, the way they did this is. But, like I said, there's a limit to everything. When someone is sick, it shows some remorse, shows some humanity, and I think that is where we miss it. I mean, there is a document from the Deputy Secretary of the Cabinet denying and indicating that government has stopped you from seeking medical, intervention in South Africa, and you will not travel. So that alone, leaves us, with questions of why would government stop someone seeking intervention? Do you want him to die, or do you don't care anyway? So, so we shouldn't be asking now. The Attorney General has asked the family, and it's in the paper headlines, that tell us why you don't want President Lungu. The answer is very simple. How would you ask a question whose answer you know? Okay. Can you ask someone why that person is angry?
I think, dear Director, you can give us that newspaper. I know you do have it. It must be in the news diggers. You can display it, since the Honorable here has referred to it. Honorable, that particular headline, how do you interpret it?
Yeah, you see, the Attorney General is government chief legal advisor, is also a lawyer for the government, so to speak. So any public officer, when they are sued, is the Attorney General who's sued and who appears in court. Not necessarily himself, but through he's got an army of advocates at the Attorney General's chambers. Yeah, but of course, even himself, Solicitor General, the Chief State Advocate, the top three in that chamber, they all go to court. Now, the Attorney General is a non-partisan so the office is a non-partisan office.
Okay.
Meaning the person that occupies that office should not exercise politics in that office. Now, in Zambia, we have seen in the last 4 years appointments to key government institutions, civil service institutions, bringing in political party cadres.
Okay.
Yeah, as you know, Mr. Kabesha was, perhaps he still is a UPND cadre. And cadre, perhaps, just to clarify to people, a cadre is a person who believes in some organization and its activities, not necessarily those youths who throws here and there. So he is a cadre of the UPND, and his behavior, unfortunately, and I remember when the name came up, one of the issues that was raised was that, look, he must know that he's no longer in UPND, he's serving the Zambian people. And at this stage, I am very disappointed, with some of the comments that, the Attorney General has been making. It's unnecessary. His role, in fact, with what has happened, he shouldn't have even been speaking.
Okay.
Why is he all over the...
So he shouldn't even conduct or attend interviews?
He shouldn't.
Interviews?
No, that is not his job.
Okay.
That's why we have a minister of legal, we have a minister of foreign affairs, we have a minister of information. Okay, so he's exercising partisan, role as he's holding the office of, because these issues, not long ago, there's a video that we saw him addressing, as AG, addressing, UPND members in Central Province. So, my appeal is that what the UPND is basically decimating the democracy that has been created. We need to realize that there's a time politics end, there's a time where national interests start. One of the issues they were arguing is that no, they want to bury the dead body of the former president here in Zambia because of public interest. You see, someone has raised an issue. You are talking public interest when it relates to the funeral. Okay. What about the president? Why is he not staying in the State House? Because he must stay there for public interest. That is an issue. The other issue is, why has there been so much vigor and strength and aggression towards the burial of the body, as opposed to the, care and, care and help to President Lungu when he was living? Why is there interest in the dead body, really? And when we didn't care for the person when he was alive. So it's quite shocking. I mean, it's unprecedented in this country when people have so many questions. For me, it was enough for the government to attempt to bury, according to state funeral, because that is what is expected.
Okay.
But when the family refused, or at some point there were disagreements about his attendance and so on, things would have been left to the family.
Okay.
It's not a big issue. That will not reduce the price of mini meal if we bury it in Zambia, or if President Akainde attended that. Neither is the hunger and poverty, which is out there as we speak now, going to come to an end.
Okay.
Load shedding will not come to an end if President Lungu sees the body of. So they should let it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honorable, I want us to go to this particular newspaper that you earlier attributed to, and I just want to read part of the write-up from this particular headline. The headline says, "Explain why HH shouldn't be near Lungu's casket. AG challenges family." And the write-up therein reads, Attorney General Mulilo Kabesha says the Lungu family should explain the mystery surrounding its insistence that President Hakainde Hichilema should not go near the former head of state's casket. And Kabesha says government would still proceed to bury the late former president in his family's absence in the event that the South African court rules in government's favor and the family declines not to be part of the burial service. By Ivy Mwansa from Diggers.
Yes.
Credit to Diggers there.
Yeah, so first and foremost, like I said, the family has indicated that before the president died, he said no, the president should not be. Those are the wishes of the deceased.
Okay.
Okay? Secondly, you know the statement that if the family does not come along, they'll proceed to bury.
In the absence?
In the absence of the family. You know what they're actually doing? When you have not attended burial, even okay, for some good reasons, a good friend dies or a relative dies, and you have not attended reason, there is always that void. A burial process of someone, particularly a big figure in the family, actually is part of being present at the burial. Is part of the healing process, because these people are injured. The family is injured. Kabesha and President Akainde are not grieving.
Okay.
You have not seen any of these people or their relatives crying. We have seen the President Lungu's family crying all over and wailing. They are in mourning and continued mourning for over 2 months now. I think that is important to consider. You can't say that. So, in the event, for instance, in the unlikely event that that body comes buried here, what the government should do, they should realize that the family is very central in the burial of the former president. They need to apologize.
Okay.
That's what. If they apologize and the apology is not accepted, that's different.
Okay.
But in my view, they must apologize. I've been making this point because I know there comes a point in time, even as an older person, you apologize to a child. The presidency can go down, apologize. You see, you rise by coming down. It's not by pushing yourself up all the time. Because the battle here, if you have listened very well, they are saying the family has an opportunity to approach the government.
Okay.
To approach the government for what? It's the government which should approach the family. So far, I don't know, Joe and the fellow Zambians, if there's anyone with evidence that President Hakainde, the UPND and others ever sent messages of condolences to the first family. No, I'm asking a very genuine question. I've not heard that. Just recently, 2 weeks ago, the Nigerians lost their former president, Buhari. And the statement which was issued, we saw President Tinubu, Tinubu, has sent a message of condolences because he died out of the country also.
Yes.
To the widow, Mrs. Buhari. That was one statement. And he wished her well, and God's, consolation. That is a statement that... Now, in Zambia, when the death was announced, the first thing that was done, they went to dig the grave. Within 24 hours of that announcement.
Okay.
And if you follow that, that is what has happened. Now, you see, when someone dies, we don't go to dig the grave. So what is the interest in the grave and burying the person? Is that the show of hatred or... I don't know really. But in my view, what they should have done first was to actually reach out to the family, give a message of condolences, and strengthen them. By the way, the president and myself and Tasila Lungu, we are workmates. The presidency is part of parliament, parliament is part of the presidency. He's the head of all these institutions. Of course, yes, there are other heads of institutions, but he could have, when your workmate has lost a beloved person. So, other than the issue at presidency level, there's also that personal thing for her. They needed to issue the condolences to her, condolences to the...
So that never came?
That never came.
Okay.
Yeah, and in my view, I think it should come. It's not late, and that's why I'm talking about reconciling. It's the government.
So it's not too late?
It's not too late.
Okay.
It's not too late. Under the earth, we are humans. All we need is the effort and energy to go there. I'm telling you, immediately issue messages of condolences. Even if you disagreed on a number of issues, you soften the process. So that engagement was in futility. Yeah, so in my view, that is what should happen. It's not like Mr. Kabesha or UPND cadres, what they are saying that the family should go to government to do what? Them is they are in a state of mourning, crying and grieving. So it's those of us who are in a stronger position say, no, look, first you pacify them, then your condolences once again, and you apologize. There's nothing wrong with an apology. Okay? There's nothing wrong. For me, that will heal us, because what we don't want, most of us don't like what is going on in Zambia. This issue is beyond barrier. You know, the differences are just too much. Yes, you can say that, no, maybe it's a Lungu family and decide. You know where I am here? There are people who love me and people hate me. So if you touch me, those who love me, you have touched them as well.
Exactly.
So we want reconciliation. Whatever happens at any level, President Hakainde, my analysis is that, you see, the quest for power is okay. He's already got power. He's already president. If he apologized, if he allowed anything, if he talked to these people, nothing will be taken away. In fact, more will be added to him. Remember, the Bible says that those who have more, a bigger responsibility is given to them. Those who have less. Now, in this dispute, what's the bigger responsibility in resolving it? It's the presidency. And he has the power. And what the problem is the understanding, thinking that, no, look, if we approach the family, we'll look weak. So let's the family come. No, it doesn't work like that. Yeah, so a lot has happened. We leave things to God. For us, it's just to forgive each other. We all know the Lord's Prayer, I think, from childhood and Sunday school. Yeah, let's forgive each other. Even as God, we want God to forgive us for our sins. That's what happens. And when I'm talking about forgiveness or an apology, that's exactly what I mean.
Okay. Now, Honorable, let's look at this notice of appeal.
Yeah.
Does it have a time frame?
Yeah, okay. So once a matter has been filed in court, it's allocated to a judge.
Okay.
And the court determines issues. Yes, there's what they call orders for directions, which is time frame to file this, the other ones respond, the date of hearing, or so on. However, the court as a final say. When they need more time, they increase and so on. So we can never know when, this will be completed. And, like we noticed, initially the hearing should have been in July, around 18th July. It was moved and that kind of thing. So, depending on circumstances, yeah. So, although there is some timeline fixed for, various processes to be fulfilled in court, but that is not really casting stone that this is what will happen, and we know when finally to come to this matter. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Honorable, after everything is said and done, we have this impasse currently. How should Zambians, especially those that are actively involved in this particular matter, treat this issue?
Exactly. Yeah. This impasse has got potential, to unite us, like I was saying earlier, unite us or disunite us.
Okay.
Because if burial takes place or everything has come to an end, okay, even if it's burials in South Africa or it's in Zambia or in Zimbabwe or anywhere, I think we need to come to a realization. 18th of October is coming, a day of prayer and reconciliation and fasting. The essence of that day is for us to deal with the question that you've asked me. We cannot live with dispute and increase this, because when dispute starts, even if it starts small, it has potential to grow and just bring anarchy in the country. So these what we see as small things must be dealt with. Either party, yes, I heard people saying that the Lungu family have cases in court. So what? That's a mere accusations. Even if they're there, that should not be a way of pinning them down. But let's put those things aside. Let's look at the issue which has brought dispute. And like I said, we cannot jump the history which has caused. Because the issue is like in the case of Dr. Kaunda. Every government, like I said, is within their right to claim to bury a former president.
Okay.
But it is the circumstances which will allow you or disallow you. With Dr. Kaunda, you will realize that there was no dispute with the then president and Dr. Kaunda. The only dispute which was there was that Dr. Kaunda wanted to be buried next, or the family wanted to be buried next to Mama Betty, then the state said, no, we have embassy back. Okay? So the state insisted, and they went to court and succeeded. So on that basis, there were no repercussions after that. But this particular case, I'll tell you that, like the AG has said, they will go ahead and bury without a family. No, that should never be.
Isn't that a harsh statement, considering what we are currently going through as a country?
Exactly. So this is what I meant by saying that instead of resolving the problem, we are dividing, because the divide is increasing. The statements we are making, particularly to a huge office like the Secretary of the Cabinet. You know, Secretary of the Cabinet is also an ex-official of Cabinet. He sits in Cabinet in advisory role. So he should, that's why I said that he should not even be exercising political sentiments. As
the AG?
The AG, yes.
Okay.
He should take a backseat. He's done his part as, you know, a lawyer. Because me as a lawyer, when I go to court, I succeed or I lose, I leave it to the client to start executing or to do whatever they want to say, unless it's really necessary. Even if it's necessary, I'll restrict myself to the legalities. Okay? It's normal, sometimes you can explain what has transpired in court and leave it there. But you see, we'll bury this, whether Lumbu family, that is not for the AG. And that's why I said that there is a Minister of Information, there are other government players which you should have left them. Yeah. Okay.
Dear viewers, you can come through on the number that is scrolling on your TV screen. We have Honorable Emmanuel Tembo. He is the Federal Member of Parliament and also Secretary Legal for the Patriotic Front. Now, Honorable, let's look at it in this way. In the event that the court rules that the sixth Republican president be buried in South Africa, what happens?
Okay, yeah. So the issue which is there is that the government buries here, or the family decides where to bury in South Africa, because they wanted to bury in South Africa. So in the event that the court ruled in that case, definitely I would pray and hope that, you know, because there will be the last appeal now, that you know, the government shouldn't appeal. They allow the family to bury privately. It's not the first time that a former head of state is buried privately in the world. You know, our Mugabe, others buried, others, you know, die in exile and so on. Their remains are later repatriated to their countries of origin. Now, what is important? Do you know that this burial issue has shocked me personally?
Okay.
Because as a country, the head of state, his ministers, political party cadres, the party machinery, has forgotten that Zambians, the 20 million Zambians, are living in poverty. We have so much poverty and hunger in this country that, you know, you would not expect one to spend money to show aggression, time and everything in South Africa. Remember, it's not just the court case. They sent one envoy group after another. They sent ministers, they sent some retired officers. By the way, when they will say we have sent them, there's a huge budget.
Okay.
We have to keep them in hotels, we have to pay them allowances, we have to feed them there. And, you know, we have to receive reports. Everyone becomes active. So all these things, to the Zambian people, not to President Hakainde and the UPND, no, to the Zambian people, that money is the money which we are supposed to be building schools so that at least our children are well educated. That money is the money that we are supposed to buy more fertilizer for our farmers. That is money that we are supposed to ensure that load shedding comes to an end. So, you know, in the event that, you know, that decision is made, I think the government shouldn't do that. They have a bigger job to do. They have a bigger job. It's not for the, they've done enough. They've already, in my view, we would say, okay, for us, we have already accorded him what we wanted. Our intentions are not. Let's leave it to the family and let people judge. Because what is happening right now, people, even those who wanted the body to come, they're also saying that, what is so important about this body? Now, there are issues of superstition that have been raised. That maybe seeing the body for the president Yeah, look, clearly, I'm a staunch Christian, and you see, I don't advocate for that. But I'm also thinking that, look, maybe there is some good reasoning. I don't know the dark world dream, but the desire, you know, there's so much desire of that body. Anything, you know, going to court, what this, no. It's been so much.
Is it an obsession?
This is what I'm talking about, actually. It looks like there's that obsession. Remember, the lawyers even wanted to say that, no, people should travel from here to go and see the body.
Okay.
Yeah, there were suggestions of people that had been said, you know, a procedure which is not acceptable at law. Okay. So, we need, as a country, to really never experience this again. I hope this is a lesson, so bitter a lesson, that it should never happen. What we need to do is to look at the copper that is endowed in this country, the lithium, the gold, the mukula trees, the diamonds, and many other things that actually this country, the resources that this country has, which apparently, as we are fighting for this body, Chinese, Americans, British, French companies are actually getting these resources and externalizing them. Remember, in the financial intelligence sector, $3.5 billion, a whooping $3.5 billion left this country 2024. And as a matter of fact, you know, we are gobbling in the poverty. So it's the levels, what is happening to our mindset? I tend to agree with President Paul Kagame when he said the problem of Africa is not the lack of money, it's the lack of proper mindset. If what we need right now is a change of mindset, we don't even need donor aid. Why would we need donor aid when we're so rich? So if the mindset is changed, we'll never focus on burying. Imagine, we are failing to bury, just bury. Okay? And this issue rests squarely on government and squarely, you know, on the president. He needs to resolve this impasse. We don't need the courts, we don't need to waste more time. The longer we keep, the more people laugh at us, the more, you know, we're ridiculed. For me, really, we shouldn't, and we should never, you know, find ourselves in this, you know, kind of scenario. Yeah.
Okay. Honorable, as we begin to wind up, do you feel we wouldn't have reached this far as a country, going to court and all this impasse, if government and the family had sat and agreed on certain terms, and those terms were followed to the latter?
Exactly. So first and foremost, maybe even going beyond what you've asked me, we wouldn't have gone this far if there was a good relationship between President Hakainde and President Lungu. Okay. One of the reasons President Lungu came back to active politics was because he believed they were mistreating him. You know, we saw those things. Wife arrested, detained, and you know, on a bailable offense, they made her sleep in cells. The daughter, the son, everyone. That is so hating on a person. It's easier if I'm arrested than my wife being arrested. No, or even a child, because I'm the protector of the family. So if my wife is not protected, I feel that, look, I'm challenged, and that's what I mean. So the point I'm making is that if President Lungu or President Hakainde had enjoyed a good relationship, even, you know, forgetting about, you know, the loss of power and so on, we saw them laugh at the handover of power, but after the handover of power, there was never any such, you know, meeting or even good relationship. It was all sour, breaking the gate of the former head of state, you know, taking away the security and all these things. Now, we are talking about the issue. If they had agreed and there was, you know, obedience to the terms of agreement. First, there was an issue that, because what I agreed was that when the body comes, it will go to his house, in Chikwayama. Exactly. Then we'll go and stay at Mulungushi again until a few things, then church service. And there was no issue with the president. But what happened is this. The program indicated that when the body arrives, at the airport, there will be a private church service. Okay? Now, when you say private church service, it means selected people attending. That was very shocking, because it doesn't work like that. So when the body is coming, is arriving, you get it, take it somewhere, or they are held at Cathedral, Anglican Cathedral here. What do we call it? That is what we know.
Okay.
You know, temples or other things that are at the airport or anywhere, those are not part. So that became a problem. The second,
so who abrogated the terms of the agreement? Before you go to a second one, Honorable.
Yeah.
For the sake of the viewers.
It is the state. Because they are the ones who slotted in. Because
the private church service.
The private church service.
Okay.
Secondly, the program indicated that before, after the church service, the body will be taken into minor circle.
Okay.
As opposed to the agreement that the body will be taken to the house. So that is what has brought us where we are. So if the government just allowed them, okay, let's go there. We allow Bishop Alec Banda to, conduct services like they agreed. I think that it would have created peace. For me, I realized that the government was quite vicious. The day the body was supposed to arrive, I was one of the earliest who went to the airport.
Okay.
What shocked me was that I saw a heavy presence of policemen and military personnel.
At the airport?
Along the way to the airport, as well as at the airport.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was very uncomfortable with it. Well, I didn't know what was happening, and I was a bit suspicious, but I was very uncomfortable with that heavy presence. I know we should have had some military or the police, the usual control of people, but not the heavy presence. Now, when we were there, we were later informed that no, actually the body is not coming today, and we saw the video in which the family representative had actually announced. So when we were driving back, and I think even the officers had been told, that's when I saw even more officers coming from the bush now walking down. I said, what was going to happen today? So if the body had arrived now, in my imaginations, I think that not even any one of us would have seen that body. Because the army, we read somewhere that the army commander said, no, whoever is going to tamper the body, he'll find himself in minor circle. I think that day would have not, our going to the airport would have been in vain. So it was really something that I realized, no, the government had some other intentions, which intentions we probably will know properly in future, not now. Yeah, but from the indicators, really, they were not sincere of government, with family, and I think this is what has led this impasse. So if they had just said, okay, let it come, minor, presence of police and so on, it would have still been okay. And we would have been talking about a different story today. Yeah.
Okay. Honorable, as we go, what's your expected best outcome from this impasse? As a Zambian, not as a legal practitioner,
Exactly.
not as a member of parliament, but as a Zambian, a son of the soul.
Yeah,
What's
absolutely.
your expected best outcome?
You see, the best outcome, and I think which is the expectation of everyone, including the family, including the sixth Republican president was our president. We want him to rest here. But that cannot happen because government has allowed it.
Okay.
I've just said that my best outcome is not to wait for the court, but for government to extend an olive branch and talk to the family. If possible, apologize. For me, that is the best outcome. Immediately, if an apology was rendered and it was not accepted, you will see Zambians will look at things differently. Okay? That is my view. And the best outcome, at the moment, with what has happened, we just need an apology. There comes a time in the life of a man when a man has to do what a man has got to do. Even in a home, you must say, look, I've done so much damage. I apologize. Can you forgive me? If the person refuses, well, it's up to them. You've done your part. God will accept your apology if it's from deep down your heart. And I think that this is the healing that we look forward to. And this body will come and be buried here. And then we'll realize that there was no need of going to court. There was no need of spending too much money from the public purse You know, whenever we have problems, when is this road going to be done? They'll say, when the government has money. Now, all of a sudden, we have money to throw around to lawyers. You know, South African lawyers, status that we also, they are quite expensive. They are quite expensive.
So that's taxpayers' money.
That's taxpayers' money. I wish it was from the president's pocket. As we know, he's a rich man. So it is my money and your money and every Zambian's money that is being used to fight this. But to pay those lawyers, someone even indicated, oh, there are some two winners around the lawyers at the end of the day, because they get paid.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, we could have reconciled quickly. So the best outcome is reconciliation.
Okay. Honorable, one last word from you. The people of Fera are watching. The people of Zambia are watching. The 2026 is slowly winding up. What is your word? Regardless of what we are going through, what is your word to the Zambian people and the people of Fera?
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to emphasize the point I made. Why are we fighting against each other? Why do we fight former president? Why do we fight family? Why do we fight people because they have got a flat somewhere, driving a special? Take someone to court, a former first lady, for a special surely, which even a garden boy can buy. Okay? So what we need to realize, Zambia is very, very rich a nation for us to be poor. What every leader needs to do is to think about what to do with the richness of this country. Instead of handing over the riches to the foreign companies. This neo-colonial imperialistic attitude of the UPN should come to an end. It's Zambians who should control these resources. And the only reason we are letting foreign entities to enjoy these resources is because, you see, we are simple-minded. A simple mind is that you inflict pain on a Zambian, you think you are a great person. No, you are only great if you fight or uplift the lives of the poor. Okay. That is what should happen. In the final analysis, my appeal is that it's not too late to the government. Let them resolve the Lungu impasse, barrier impasse. The boys in their courts, let them be level-headed. Let them give up, you know, their egos, their desire to look like you are powerful. You're already powerful as president. You know, that's why Joseph in the Bible, he forgave his brothers because what he had was too big. You are prime minister number 2 in a country, a foreign land. You control everything. You know, why should you fight a young brother, regardless of what they did to you? So my appeal really is that you already have power in the executive. Why don't you focus on that? It is not going to leave you by virtue of, you know, letting the family bury or reconciling yourselves with the family regarding this issue. And like I said, we are here because of the mistreatment that, you know, the former head have said, and obviously the insincerity of government. So we can, it's not too late, I emphasize, we can, you know, resolve this for benefits of the future and the generations to come. And in my view, that should be the focus. The main reason people elect a government is to make sure that the government delivers to the people. It's not about burying people. No, no, no. That is not it's a by the way issue. Yeah, farmers are waiting. Like you've indicated, 2026 is around the corner. Government has not done anything. The UPN government has not done anything to show for. There are simple things like toilets, boreholes, and so on, 1 by 2 class. That is for MP and councillors. You need massive infrastructure, capital projects, like what was seen in the PF. 7, you know, private universities. The road, bridges everywhere. You know, Kazungula, which people, the airports, when they're flying out of this airport, they see it's a marvel. You know, I live near, you know, Levi Mwanawasa hospital and university. When I look at the infrastructure there, I said, wow. The other day, if you move around Lusaka, I know Lusaka is quite big. I was in Makeni. All the roads are tarred. Even what was the bush now, you know, life has become easy. You know, those are properties, the value of properties has even gone up. So this is what the UPN should have been focusing on, generating resources from our resources, like our friends in Burkina Faso, like our friends in Mali and other places, and even in Tanzania here. Namibia has joined those who are calling for the use of our local resources for our own people. And why are we remaining behind wasting time talking too much and doing all things that have no value or do not add value to the livelihoods of the Zambian people. Yeah. So, government should be serious. I don't think they are in any way serious. Yeah.
Okay. Honorable Tembo, thank you so much for coming and having this conversation with us. We do appreciate it.
Thank you very much for the invitation, and thank you indeed. I think that it's been a wonderful moment sharing these issues. These are at the hearts of many Zambians, and they look forward, these issues being settled. And I can assure Zambians that these issues will be settled. Because even us as a party, right now, you see, we're just waiting to announce the next leader. The leader has been found. The roadmap has been set for 2026, and we can't do that until we bury our former president, because we hold him in very, very high esteem, just like President Sata, who also was the founding father of the Patriotic Front. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Honorable, and thank you to you, the viewers out there. Thank you to my director, Mr. Lesa, upstairs. My guest this afternoon was Honorable Emmanuel Tembo. He is the Federal Member of Parliament and legal Secretary Legal for the Patriotic Front. I've been your host, Tapelo. Joe Spanta is my name. We'll see you when you see us. Good afternoon.